Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and it's been about a week since we got the news that we're getting a digital version of the Dragon Ball Super card game later next year, and I'm super duper excited, and I just want to talk about it. I want to talk about my thoughts, my expectations for it, and just everything else. If you're anything like me, you're incredibly excited for it, and I just want to talk about it. I want to talk about my thoughts. I want to see what you guys are thinking about it. I want to see what you guys have on expectations, what you want to see, and what you kind of maybe some pitfalls to avoid on that. So we're just going to jump on into it and just my initial reaction. And first, I just want to show a courtesy of Stage Zero, like just the crowd seeing this for the first time. Everyone was just super hyped. It was really, really cool to be at that venue. Just feel the energy from these people. It was just huge. I got goosebumps, like no joke. Like this is like the most hype moment at Dragon Ball Super I could ever think. I've been covering this game for over 4 years, and like this was like the most excited I've ever been for this card game. It was really something else. So I think a lot of people want this. I think that it is something that people have been wanting for a long time. And honestly, this is something that I thought we would never, ever get. Even now, I'm like, if they were going to do it, they would have already done it. And I know that there's probably some issues with like licensing, and that's always been like the idea in our minds, like, oh, there's some licensing issues or something like that. But man, I am really, really excited. And something that they kind of said at the venue, there were developers there for this release trailer, is that I think there was just like a hesitation where they didn't want to disincentivize anyone trying to play the card game on paper by making an online client that was maybe like better or just made the value of cards being, less expensive. But I think as we've seen with like Master Duel, it's kind of done the opposite effect, right? And in my mind, and we're just going to jump on to the next slide too, with experience with the other digital card games, but like Master Duel specifically came out about a year ago, and it got pretty much paid for itself, I think, in like the first week. I feel like everyone was super excited for it, and people who haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time, not only did they play Master Duel, but because they liked playing on Master Duel, they wanted to play the game on paper. And I think the exact same thing is going to happen for Dragon Ball Super once this card game comes out. And I will say, based on like my own experience and stuff, it has been in a little bit of a lull of people playing this game. But because of this, I think people are going to be excited for it. And people who are finding this game for the first time off the digital client will be just interested in the card game in itself. And I've played a lot of digital card games. I played Hearthstone. I don't know if you guys know this. Hearthstone was the first card game I made content for. Like for the first year of Eggman being a thing, it was Hearthstone. I did my first year. My first year streaming the game, I said I'm going to start January 1st. I'm going to stream 100 days, and I did, and every stream had to be at least 2 hours, and I did end up doing that, which was a good experience for me. But it was with Hearthstone of all things, so I love digital clients. It's what my background was. I did try Runeterra for a bit. I did try Master Duel. I tried making Master Duel content for a bit, and it was fine. But I'm probably playing Marvel Snap right now as I edit this video. No joke. Like I've been pretty obsessed with that. So I like card games. I like being able to play them digitally. And the biggest thing about Marvel Snap that's been like the thing for the last couple of months and weeks for me is that it's so much easier. You get so much more for free as a content creator playing this game, which is just, not only is the audience more and it's more accessible, because card games are probably one of the least accessible, hobbies on the surface. Having a digital client just to have people dip their toes into it and kind of also just be like a trial for people who want to play the game on paper, I think is very, very good if done right. So it's been really nice to be able to play Marvel Snap, not having to either like physically build a deck or to have to find people on Untap and everything else. Being able to just press the button and start playing people, and not having to be in like a 10-minute rulings debate with someone on Untap. Can't wait. I think that's going to be very good for it. So those are just kind of my experiences with online clients, what I really like from it. Personally, for me, like this is biased, like it will make my job hopefully easier and have a bigger viewership base from that. So that's part of the reason I'm so excited for it. But if it's done well, and that's always like the lingering thing, because it's very easy to make some of these clients be very unwell. But going to the next one, just my initial thoughts for like a UI and a client. And this is from the tutorial app. And I think this is fine for what it is. But it's kind of like the same issue that we see in like the actual card game. We see in this just like how small this battle area is. It's going to be even smaller because this is from before before we had like even the before we had the unison area. We don't even have like any place for like field cards. We have a Z stuff to go through and everything. But I think the idea of this is fine. Being able to see where life is good, and being able to see what the power of everything is, the energy cost and everything. And we do have like energy on the bottom left. Now, both of these like tutorial apps, that from what I remember, it's been a minute, everything was monocolored, so it really didn't matter what energy you tapped, and nothing really manipulated that. So that is one of the reasons for it. But I think this is a good base for it, and I think what I really want to see, and on it, like, I know they put Master Duel on a client, right? So that's probably fine, and I'm pretty sure they have like Magic the Gathering Arena on an iPhone or Apple. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't played Magic that much, but I think there has to be a way to better. They have to make sure that there is enough room for your cards, and I don't know if you need to see the energy up, and I think that's fine as long as like if you can tap the energy button like right here, so it shows which energy you have up and not, because that does matter for some decks, at least in the current format. I think that is important for you there. I don't know, like there's just so much. The biggest thing for me for this card game is that there's so much interaction and interactivity for you that you have to make sure if you do an online client for it that you have the interaction. Now, I thought the same thing for Master Duel for Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, man, that game, I would say this about Rivals. This is about the same amount of interaction as Yu-Gi-Oh!, at least for triggers and stuff. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's about similar. It's within the same ballpark, right? So if they're able to do it for that game, I highly expect that this card game can do pretty much the same thing, very similar to that. And I don't know. I guess like the whole point of this slide and going over it is that they've done it before, and I have expectations for that. But like obviously this is very remedial, and it already feels kind of crowded, right? And it just kind of shows like how many areas are in the Dragon Ball Super card game, and like again like how just big that combo area is. And even without having like our energy area be physically on the screen, we're already pretty cramped by just how many cards we can have on the board at the same time, right? Like Yu-Gi-Oh, they can at least be restricted that they'll know that they'll have only like 5 per row, I guess six per row, right? With field cards and stuff. And then the 2 extra zones or whatever. But since you can have a lot of cards on this, they kind of have to maybe go what like Magic does. I know like Magic, it like makes them squares instead of rectangles, and multiple copies of the same card can stack. But since we have also this like passive main phase and stuff, I don't know. I'm really interested to see how they do it. I highly expect this to be automated if this wasn't, realized by now, but it'll be really interesting to see how they do it. Going to the next slide. Another big thing is what will be the initial format for this card game. We've have 5 years of history with it. Obviously, Master Duel, I'm going to keep comparing this to Master Duel, obviously, because it's like the one you have to compare it to. I'm 99% sure they saw Master Duel come out and they realized that, man, there is actually a gold mine. They were the guinea pigs for it. Start development today, right? And that's fine. So going back to this, what is the initial format? So we've got 5 years of Dragon Ball Super cards, and are they going to be able to put all 5 of them into one game at the same time? Or are they going to kind of go what they did for Duel Links? And so people who aren't familiar with Duel Links is pretty much an alternative format for Yu-Gi-Oh! How it works is that you pretty much have less life points. It's almost like making it more like the anime and like the first season, more or less, because the first season of the anime is totally different than how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is played. But they removed a phase. They made it a little bit like smaller, and so it's more digestible in that sense, and that could be a route for how they pick this game. I don't want that. I would rather have the full game, but also full game matches take like 40 minutes, so I also know how that could be something that is not very marketable for people trying to get into the game for the first time. So like wetting their palate with like a mini version, and then saying, okay, if people, like for example, you start with 4 life and your leader's always awakened, and they release cards incrementally that only support their really niche little format, right? That would be the idea for it. But I think I would still like the Master Duel version where they put everything. It might be a lot of work to put like 2,000 cards into it and have them all functional and automatic, but we'll see what they end up choosing. I don't think either is bad, though. I wouldn't be too upset if they did go up with a smaller format, especially since this is technically like their first foray into these kind of things. And something else I want to mention too, Yu-Gi-Oh is owned by Konami, who's a video game developer, and GBS is Bandai Namco, who's also a video game developer. They are different departments from the same company, obviously, but I would have to assume that you get something by being able to be in the same company as a actual like first party video game developer in some sense. So I'm gonna be interested. I'm not going to be too surprised if there is some kind of beginner format, or even if it's like a set one format, but it's you get everything from set one and they just incrementally release them as time goes. I'd be okay with that as well. Maybe with some additional like erratas or bans that match the current format when it was when it was current, if that makes sense. But I don't know. That's like this is probably one of the pivotal things for the game, as well as how do you obtain cards. That is probably everyone's first question. And Pokemon is like, as far as I know, the only one who does it where they have like these little QR codes and you get rewarded for buying physical cards. If any other card game does that, let me know, because I don't, at least like current large video like card games, this is the only one that I know that does it. Others could do it, and if they do, they don't advertise for it well because I haven't heard for it. But I don't know if Bandai will do this. I really don't. I don't think it's something that it is make or break for me. I am, but I am like the 1% where I'm pretty much going to go full hog into this as soon as it gets released anyways, because I'm literally a content creator for this game and have been for a couple years. So I should not be the target demographic for something like this. But I think it's what people want, and it's kind of leading to my next point of like the other games that they make right now. Dragon Ball FighterZ is not necessarily in this, but I need a third one to even out the demographic or like the image, so that's why it's here. It's mostly Dragon Ball Legends and Dokkan Battle, which I have fleeting experience with. I have tried them a little bit. Both of them are gacha games, or like go under that idea. And it's the idea of like microtransactions, but you also, by playing the game and getting rewarded for playing the game, you're able to get packs and that kind of stuff. So I'm honestly, and this is, I don't know if this is decisive or not, but I really don't care. I don't mind that format. I get it. I get that they need people to spend money to be able to sustain the game in that way, and it's just depending on like how balanced it is, right? And I've been playing Master Duel. I stopped a couple months ago, but when I was playing it, that money system was probably the fairest one in my mind, where it was a combination of being able to buy packs to get your cards, but you also got this dust, this crafting material, and it's kind of like that in Hearthstone. I don't think Pokemon does it, but I could be wrong because I don't play that one. But the idea of being able to craft your own cards and being rewarded for playing the game, for getting more cards, I think is a proven model for this, and it's going to be depending on that. I will say, like, when I played Duel Links was super aggressive. Duel Links didn't have any crafting, and you had to like you had to spend like $100 on like digital cards to get like everything from like a set if you were lucky. It's not I don't flashbacks of like just mistakes made on that one. I do not want that. I don't think a lot of people would be okay if it was kind of like the Duel Links one. Master Duel I was okay with. Master Duel felt really generous in the beginning, and it pretty much gave me enough in the first month for all of my staples for every deck. And I think the only difference is that since Dragon Ball Super has their colors, and because of that, there are less staples that are for every color, and you kind of would probably have to commit to one or two colors for all your staples and going from there. I think that does make a difference for this card game. But if there is a way to buy cards with in-game currency, meaning like if you are able to earn gems from playing the game to be able to buy packs, and then you can get rid of your extra cards to craft the cards you need as well. That's all I'm asking for. I played Hearthstone as my first digital client. It did it right in my mind, being able to do that. And I think that would make it a lot better in my mind. Being able to grind for the cards you really need. If people want to spend money, they can. And but it shouldn't force it to be. And that's the thing too. If you want people to be able to play the digital card game as well as the physical card game, chances are the money that you like, the money they've set aside is for both, right? So it's, chances are they're not going to spend more money strictly for the app. They're going to make a decision of, do I want to spend money on the app or on physical cards, right? And so if they make the digital app too expensive, either people won't play it or they'll only play it and they won't play the physical card game, in my mind. So it has to be a balance. I don't know what the balance is. I don't get hired to do that. So I get to just commentate on my thoughts on it. And all I can really say is they better do it right or people will not do it. And lastly, just closing thoughts for this. In general, I'm really excited. This is, again, probably the biggest news I've seen for Dragon Ball Super ever since the game release. Like even more than like multicolor cards or like unison cards coming out. Like this is like the biggest hypest moment I've ever seen in this card game. And Bandai makes other card games. And I saw honestly a lot of people who play Digimon, and this, I'm not trying to like call people up, but I saw a lot of people in Digimon saying, why are they making this client for Dragon Ball when they should be making it for Digimon? And my thoughts as a biased Dragon Ball Super player is that because Dragon Ball Super's been around longer, they might have been working on like the IP rights for this longer because of it. And it's just they own more of this. But at the same time, if the Dragon Ball Super card game does well, chances are they'll make these sims for other card games, right? So if you do not play Dragon Ball Super and you just don't care for it, that's fine. But if you are actively saying that it's bad or actively upset about this card game client being around, it could impact them trying to make a card game client for the other games that you actually do play. So all I'm saying is that if you are excited for Bandai as a company to make online clients for their physical card games, you should probably at least support the ones that you like. You should support them, because then if you don't support them, then they won't make them for your card game. You know what I mean? Like it just, that's my mindset for it. If you think that's wrong, let me know. But I'm really excited for this. I'd be 100% excited for a Digimon card game client. I'd be excited for a One Piece card game client and a Battle Spirit Saga client. And in just 4 years I've been having to do just webcam, untap, tabletop for content, and it's fine, and I'll do it, and I'll continue to do it. But if I literally have an online client for my stuff, it's going to not only make it 100% easier for me, it's going to be cleaner for you guys. There's going to be more reach for this card game, and more people are going to be interested in that, and I think that's only positive for everyone involved. So that's my closing rant. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys no doubt have some thoughts of your own, so please leave them in the comments. But I'm really excited, and I'm really hopeful I don't get burned. I don't think I'm going to get burned with how excited I am on this, but we'll have to see how it goes. So thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll catch you all next time.